This is the closest James Remar I think has played to himself on screen. Because this just is James Remar on screen. We shot him for 5 hours for the entire movie, that's it. Wow. And this was just James Remar just being like, God, I'm getting fucking hot up here. Can we get Jesus Christ? And it's just him just like laughing and going hysterical, but this is just James Remar. He's hilarious in real life.
So he's a closet supervillain.
Yeah, he's I mean, hands down. Like, this is the closest James Remar has been to James Remar on screen. I'll vouch for that.
And let's open up to the floor here. We got some questions for Jason. Anybody want to throw something out, especially if you're fans of the genre? Anybody want to talk about any particular question? Oh, hand over there, go for it.
I'm guessing there's going to be a sequel.
A sequel question.
The sequel is actually the movie I had the idea for first, oddly enough. So we made this one to get to that one. And yeah, I hope that happens because the sequel will be fucking awesome. This is baby shit compared to what the sequel would be.
So who wants to see anyone darker versus 2?
Essentially, a sequel would be Versus meets Garden State.
Okay.
And that's all I can say.
My brain's just trying to...
yeah, try and process it, but you know, Lucas becomes the new rickshaw. Cool. But I can't say, but...
All right. We've got anybody else want to throw something out? Have we got some, do I see any hands to ask our guest here? In terms of this film being very independently made, I mean, when you're making a film like this, do you already have in mind how you're going to get some distribution or where it's going to end up?
No, I mean, basically the first thing you get is like, we have X amount of money. Do you have an idea? No, I don't. Give me a week. And then I go and I wrote this movie in a week. And I was just like, okay, he was like, okay, I can't say, but we have this amount of little money to make this movie. And I was like, okay, I think I got an idea. And you've got to like adapt everything in the movie for that idea, like such as like, okay, well, I guess we're taking their superpowers away because we're not going to be able to do that for the money we have. We're not going to be able to do this. And basically every single adversity it was to making the movie cheaper made it better, I think. Because in the end, it's like, if I would have had $10 million, I think the movie would have been a watered-down piece of shit compared to what it came out to.
The creativity that comes out of having limitations, and we've had a lot of filmmakers here on this stage over the last week, and many of them have made films, not very much money, but the creativity just speaks for itself. And I think with your film as well. Have we got some more questions from the floor? Do you want to throw one out?
What did the actors bring to the story? What's just and how did they shape the...
So for people at the back, how did the cast, or did they not, or how did they add to their characters and develop the story?
I hate to sound like a total douchebag, but they just read the lines in the script. But no, I mean they gave. I mean James Remar especially helped out in his character. Like I would say 80% of what he did was written, and there's that very special 20% that he added in there. He was by far the one who he added some elements that made it. Everybody else is like pretty much straight laced what it was, but James Remar definitely, he's worth his weight in gold.
We got some hand over there.
Yeah, what was the most difficult part of actually shooting this film?
So for those who didn't hear, what was the most difficult part of shooting the film?
Wow, most difficult part of shooting the film. Let's see. I would have to say the bar sequence. The me and Lucas fighting and into that and that whole thing, because we had 12 hours to shoot the entire fight sequence and the whole reveal that something fell out of the sky, everybody's immortal, that whole thing. And we had this emotional scene, we had this action scene, we had effect shots, we had everything to shoot in 12 hours, and I was just like pulling the hair back on. That was definitely the hardest scene in the movie.
Did you guys actually have stump doubles? Or?
Absolutely not. We did not have money for that. That was all us. And surprisingly, we didn't get hurt, which is weird.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if there are any horror stories of injuries on this film.
No, I think all that ever happened was I dinged up my elbow a little bit in the cage, but that was it.
And the rest of the cast?
The rest, everybody else, we did okay.
Cool. We got some more. Hand over there. Go.
Did you shoot native film, or did you actually do digital to convert? Like, what did you shoot it on? Stopwise, or did you do?
What was it shot on?
It was shot on a digital SLR. It was shot in the 1D, and there's 1.5 scenes in the movie that are shot in the 7D.
We got any more hands? Any questions anybody want to throw out? Go for it.
Why mascots is that henchman? You guys dress up like furry animals.
Furry animals.
Well, throughout the movie we have a circus theme to where it's like we have Uncle Sam, we have the strong man in the cage, and we've got a tiger, and we've got a gorilla, and we've got a bunny. It was all a circus theme. If we had the backstory on Rickshaw, which we didn't give you in the movie, it's that he is a circus master. But it's, we didn't spend a lot of time with that.
How did that go?
At the end, what were the grenades for? Like, what was the last challenge?
The last challenge would be, it's up to your interpretation, but how I saw it was that you pull the pin on yourself or you throw it at them.
Yes.
Sorry, you had a question?
Interesting choice to not have them find help. So they ended up spending like 30 seconds basically arguing amongst themselves and then deciding what to do. But what was the reason behind that choice?
What, behind having people take too long to make an important decision?
Not only that, but so-called citizens that were, basically.
Well, the idea of the entire movie is that if you strip people's superpowers away, what are they really? And the only person who's ever trained to be a real I'm not going to get into the metaphors here, but the fact being, like, if you don't have your superpowers, what are you? Is the main question that's begged in the movie. And the fact that, okay, well, of course, so we can talk about it all day, but the one guy has superhuman speed, so he can just roll over there and untie him, but now he can't, so what the hell do we do now that we don't have our powers? It's that kind of juxtaposition.
Becoming one with your lameness.
Exactly. Powers don't make you super, is the moral of the movie.
Over there?
Did you cast yourself to save money, or is that...
Absolutely.
You had some questions? I was going to talk about the traps that you guys set in each scene. How did you come up with scripting or brainstorming?
You'd be bummed because the traps we originally had planned were so much more elaborate, but then as the budget kept sinking and sinking and sinking, it's like, fuck, we still got some gasoline barrels over there, right? We can just tie something like that. We still got the clock, right? All right, tie it to them. We'll figure it out in post. How I came up with it was like, how much rope and gasoline barrels do we have? We'll figure it out later. It's sad that that's the end. Like, that's my. I had very, ingenious traps planned, but we just did not have the money for those.
Creativity again.
So at the end of the day, we're just like, okay, fine. He's like the Joker. He's fucking nuts. He does whatever he wants. Gasoline. Good.
We got a hand over there. Go for it.
Can you tell us anything about the location itself? Like, where do you find it, or is it a mixture of stuff?
Well, it's just my hometown, and I had a lot of connections there, and I guess 60-70% of the movie is shot in my dad's ranch. So I had places I could just build sets there. I knew it's like, oh, he's got this outhouse that looks like this, or he's got this that looks like that. I basically I wrote the entire movie around what I knew I had. And I think the pitfall of most independent movies is they write a $20 million movie, and then they get $500,000 to shoot it. And it turns out like it turns out. But if you know the money you have and you plan it as such from the ground up, like, I conceive this concept with the money I know I'm gonna make, I feel like it's much more fruitful than trying to shoot a $20 million movie for $10,000.
Interesting enough, you're the second filmmaker we've had on stage talking about shooting in their parents' ranch.
That's how it
Heroes
goes.
Here for Love. That was also shot.
If anybody knows about the FP out there, it's the same locations. You'll see everything there.
We got some more questions? Any hands? We want to throw one out? Do we have one? I was going to talk to you about the idea of having a very small cast working so intensely over 15 days. Were you guys at each other's throats? Were you getting up in each other's grill? What was that like, having this tension?
It was actually the most pleasant movie I've ever made, which is odd enough because we were all just friends. Also, when we made this movie, everybody was on good terms with each other, and we knew what we had, we knew what we were making, and I had everything planned out to where the point where we never shot over 10 hours any of those days, and we knew what we wanted, we did it, and we went home, and we just partied at the end of the night and had a good time. And which most of the times on these small movies is not the case, and I was shocked. I was like, holy shit, we're done? Yeah, I guess we're done. That's it.
15 days, fantastic.
Yeah.
We got some more. Anybody want to go for it?
How many pages of script would you shoot in a day on average?
3 or 4. I mean, it was only like a 70-page script, so,
Great, Jack.
which is, not what you're supposed to do, but oh well.
We've got some more hands. Anybody want to throw one out? Do you want to talk about some of your favorite superhero characters or stories that you read, that may have formed just part of your background or like your interest in superheroes as a genre?
Yeah, I mean, Batman obviously is my favorite superhero, always has been. Like, I started watching Batman the animated series when it first came out, and that basically shaped what I think a Batman movie should be. Or just this and that, and it's like, as much as I love the Chris Nolan movies, it's like, I still think the Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City games are kind of nailing the Batman element more than as I want. And that's all I want to do, is like, I'm like, there's this void where there's no Batman animated series movie. It's like, let's do that. Like, the Tim Burton ones were goofy, the Joel Schumacher ones, and
we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But it's like, it's still, the stakes are high. They're still serious, but it's still a world. Like, I'm sick of like, and it's great what Chris Nolan did, but it's like, I hate how every superhero movie now, it's got to be like, this is real. This is every world life. This is this. This is that. And it's like, X-Men, it's like, it's a sci-fi. Why are we still treating it like it's Batman Begins? There's mutants here. Let's fucking make a superhero movie. Or it's like this movie. Like every superhero movie, I think, tries too hard to be a real movie. When it's like, we're making fantasies here. There's nothing wrong with that. Lord of the Rings won Best Picture. But let's do it right. Let's make a fantasy movie out of these. Let's not say let's not take away everything that all the fans, everyone loved to begin with the superhero movies, like mythology and everything. You have to adapt those things like you would a book. Like, why everyone loved Lord of the Rings, we adapt it like you would a book. But with the comic books, it's like, all right, fuck that story, we got this idea. And it's like, well, nobody wanted that idea because this one's proven and you guys just shat on us. And it's like, I assume everyone wants to see what they grew up loving. And that was the idea for the movie. It's like, here's a superhero movie. The end.
We've got one more question. Time for one more. Anyone want to throw one out? Go for it.
You get a bigger budget for the sequel, will Church have a cooler superhero car?
Superhero car? Yeah, I would assume that he would drive a Bronco in the sequel. But like, a 76 Bronco.
And just to wrap up, you don't have any distribution right now for this film, that's correct?
Yeah, no, it's zero. This is the first time anyone has seen this movie in this form.
Cool. And so any of you out there who are bloggers or, have a film site or have distribution friends, please get the word out about Versus.
And be gentle on us, because I think it was made for less than any other movie in this festival.
And knowing the budget, that is the case. Thank you
I can't say that legally.
No, we can't. Thank you, Jason, for coming here. Give it up for Jason.
Thank you guys for coming.
You coming to the pub? You coming to the pub?
Yeah, I'll be in the pub.
After dark, tequila before 5:12 p.m.